Hey guys, it's me Jay. Welcome to the StitchyJam. Cut. Hey Turtle. This is Turtle. Hi guys, welcome to the StitchyJam Podcast. I always have trouble saying podcast because to me it's a video, but the knitting world says podcast. Thank you for saying hello, Turtle. This is Turtle. He's about to run away. Welcome to the StitchyJam Podcast. My name is Jay, and you can find me here on YouTube as StitchyJam, Ravelry, Instagram, and probably more. Threads, there's another one. All my links are down there in the description. Right, it's been a hot minute. Life got in the way and I've been putting it off and here I am. And we're in, what are we in? August now, and I haven't done a podcast since April, maybe. The last time I was on here, I had a lot of things going on in my life, and although those things have shifted and passed, it's been a lot in the last 3 months with life. So welcome to those of you who are new here, and welcome back everyone else. Thank you for joining me and thank you for your patience. Today I'm going to be talking about some knitting and sewing, works in progress, finished objects, acquisitions, and things that are coming up for me. I've been to a couple of shows in between that I'm not sure if I have footage of, but if I do, I'll pop them in. One of which was the Fibre Frolic Fest, which is in Mulgoa, which is about maybe sort of 20 minutes from where I live. And that is at a heritage listed site. And yeah, it's every year with lots of woolly goodness. So I've got some acquisitions from there. And I'm sorry that if I don't have any footage, like I said, life has been a little crazy. There's been a lot going on. I've been doing a lot of internal work on myself. And I've been fairly quiet. I've been a bit internalized, introverted. I've been going to work, which burns me out. I love my job. My job is great. It is one of the best things that is going on in my life. And I love it very much, but it does tire me out. And knitting is a way for me to recharge from that. But doing a podcast just has been, I've had a little bit of imposter syndrome, and so yeah, so even today I didn't really feel like I have got the energy to do it, but I'm going away in a few weeks and this is the only opportunity I have, so please bear with me while I get through sharing with you the things that I love while also feeling slightly burnt out at the same time. So when I say get through, I don't mean that it's a chore. I just mean I'm just exhausted at the moment. So sit in, grab a cup of tea, and let's get chatting. I hope that you're all well. I have made a lot of progress on my shawl, my Stephen West Boneyard shawl, which I'll show you. And I have done my very first test knit, which is also part of the reason that I haven't been around, and that was for Cider Fun Knits. I did some mittens. They're called, now bear with me if the pronunciation is incorrect, they're called the Nortuldry mittens, and I'll show you those as well. And I've also finished another Ricky hat modified by Sarah Young. So I'll start with those things. Oh my goodness, life gets busy, doesn't it? Even when it's not busy, sometimes it can be mentally busy. The things that I enjoy to unwind are knitting, reading, which I've done a lot of reading as well. in the space of the last few months, and watching podcasts on here. And so hopefully you get the same enjoyment I do out of watching other people talk about their knitting by looking at mine. And yeah, so Jay Shetty, Think Like a Monk. If you haven't read it, highly recommend that book. So we'll start off with my modified Ricky hat. And by the way, what I'm wearing, I didn't make, my mother did. She's very talented. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you. But if you want to know, ask me below and I will find out and I will reply. So the modified Ricky hat, I traveled around Europe in 2016-17 with a hat that was this color, and it's falling apart. And so I had a recent trip down to Melbourne, which is in Victoria in Australia. I went down to watch Tottenham Hotspur play. They're my team, and this is the Tottenham Hotspur colours. So I picked this wool thinking, right, I'm going down to Melbourne. I need something to do on the plane that isn't going to take up a lot of room. And it was really good to have those memories of that trip into this hat. I think that as knitters that we can capture that kind of thing and put something on and feel like we're still part of that trip or that memory, that person, whatever's happening. So for me, this is my Tottenham Hotspurs versus Newcastle United Melbourne trip beanie hat, and it is modified Ricky hat. Ricky hat is done with garter stitch. I've done it in knit. It is supposed to be longer. I've done it shorter because from my old hat, where this inspiration came from, I took the pom-pom off so that I could put it on here. And I wear it all the time. It is just so comfortable and I love it to death. The wool I used, or the yarn I used for it, is I got from Fibre Frolic, and it's Great Southern Yarns DK Merino weight. Now it's got a woman's name for the color, but I cannot remember what it is. You'll be able to find that on my Ravelry, and the link is down below. I have also made myself some really lovely, comfy, cozy arm warmers. And it's really great. It's winter in Australia at the moment, and although today's nice and sunny, it's still a great time to wear my woolly warmers. And aren't they just great? I love the colour. Look, I'm all in my winter get up. It's my favourite time of year. So these were knitted with a sheep called Bob. Now Bob is a sheep that's owned by Fibre Art Shed, which is another local Australian yarn supplier. It's New South Wales Corriedale, and it was one of the nicest things that yarns I've never knit with. It is a 4-ply. Now, this is not a particular pattern. I cast on 40 stitches and did a twisted rib for the cuff, and then I just kept knitting. And they are slightly pilling a little bit, as you can see. But I've only worn them a few times. They'll be all right. And they're so comfy and cozy, so I don't really mind. I put my hand up to do my very first test knit with Cider Fan Knits. And if you want more information about that, if you head over to my Instagram, I have a couple of posts up, and I am going to put a official post up. But if you go into my stories and there's like a tab below that says knitting, if you flick through that, then you'll be able to see my progress on those. And of course, eventually I will get around to putting them on Ravelry. So I used a combination of Swanky Sock, 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon, the colorway Corsair, which is like this brown kind of color, which I will show you. And then I used 49% wool, 30% soy, 21% mohair. It's Motivera. It's not this color, but I lost the label for the color that I used, and so I wanted to tell you what was in that. And the color I used was this lovely sort of pink, salmony, squishy ball of goodness. And this is the swanky sock. So this was a really great experience. I've been knitting for 1.5 years, and to do a test knit and to sort of help someone else fine-tune their pattern, as well as it teaching me a lot about learning how to sort of navigate if things weren't 100% clear, and how to relay that back to someone. Now I've just put them over my arm warmers, so they're a little bit funny. I'll take the arm warmers off, but here's one. Let me just get these off. This mohair just gets up my nose, so if I start sniffing, that's why. Now I did have to extend the thumb a little, so you'll see that one thumb is shorter than the other. I'm going to, so this thumb is good and this thumb needs to be undone and unraveled. But these are the Nautadori mittens. I did them on 3.5mm needles. There's 32 stitches in the circumference, and that pattern is being released in a few days by Cider Fan Knits, and you'll be able to find her on Instagram. She's about to also launch her own YouTube channel, so keep your eye out for that as well. And these are good. I'm actually going overseas on the 21st of August. I'm going to the UK. I'm going for a month. And yes, it will be summer, but I feel like I'm going to Scotland for the first week. I feel like these are going to come in handy. And even if they don't, they're just so cozy that in the middle of winter here, I can have them on to drive. So I'm really happy with those. I'm really proud of myself for that, and that's a really big accomplishment. I knit these in less than a month, and you know, as someone who is learning and growing as a knitter, I was just really proud of myself. Was also really proud of myself that when I made mistakes in these, that I was able to do it myself. I do have the benefit of having my mother around usually, and that's really great when I get stuck on things, but sometimes it can make me a little lazy. And so I was forced with these, as she wasn't here, to work it out myself, which has taught me a lot, which I think is really fantastic. So they're all my finished products. And this episode might be a little bit long. We're on 13 minutes already. I'm not sure, because it's been 3 months, so I have a lot to talk about. So I'll pop those down. And it's a little warm for the old beanie right now. I think it's starting to warm up a bit as we're heading in towards the end of winter. Still got a fair way to go, but it has been quite mild in the last week or so. So in terms of works in progress, I chatted about my shawl, and I have, since the last time I saw you, made a lot of progress, and it is not finished yet, but it will be. I am determined before I go away. I have 21 days, so we shall see. The last time I showed you all this, I put a progress stitch marker in so we could see how much I got done. It's all a bit tangled. I apologize. So my progress marker is somewhere down here. And if you can see it dangling down there, this is getting tangled up again. I've made an awful lot of progress. Oh my goodness, I can't talk properly. What is getting tangled here? There we go. Progress even on the Stephen West Boneyard shawl. So I have not got very much to go, but this is coming along rather nicely and the colors look fabulous, and I'm really looking forward to wrapping that around me while I go overseas. I did take some footage when I was down in Melbourne. I went to Morrison's and Sons, the yarn shop there, and took some footage. So I might have a look and see if I can find that and pop that in. Here comes Turtle again. Turdy, are you coming back up? I don't think he's coming back up. So last month and the month before, I hadn't, that's Turtle. Hold on a second. Turdy, don't do that. Sorry guys. I did an 8-week sewing class on how to sew your own clothes. Now this is the third time or the second time that I've done that 8-week course. And it must be the third time, because the first time I did some pajama bottoms, and the second I have done a vest or a waistcoat, if you like, and then I started on a shirt, which I haven't finished because the classes ended before I got the chance. And although I've tried to do the hemming outside of class, it was quite challenging because there's a lot of curves, and that's okay, but I haven't had the time or the headspace to sit down and really put the energy into it. So that's on hold at the moment. Oh, and I've also done some project bags. In my head, I was like, awesome, I'm going to do all these project bags. I'm going to start a business in 2025. I'm going to start selling them at markets. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to do one every few days. No, that has not happened. Life got in the way. Realistic expectations came to light. And, you know, sometimes I can get in my head that this really great idea and I've got all this energy into it, and then it just goes by the wayside. That's happened with, I was going to launch my own stitch marker line, and that's not to say I never will, but it isn't going to happen anytime soon. I did start that process and that just fizzled and died. Part of what I am learning about myself through all the work that I'm doing on myself and therapy would explain an awful lot about those, but I won't go into that right now. So, one waistcoat. So I had some corduroy material and this beautiful lining of my favorite, one of my favorite birds, which is the blue tip fairy wren, or the blue fairy wren. And I don't know if I can put this on over this jumper. It's probably going to look funny, but it fits absolutely perfectly, and it's going to not look right over the top of this jumper. But the lining of the pockets has the birds, the lining under here, it's very comfortable, it fits like a glove. I've just pricked myself on a pin. And for the first time sewing anything like this that isn't a quilt and is clothing, and from a technical point of view, a waistcoat, my teacher said, was a really good choice. to teach me things like the pocket and the way that you sort of, when you do it, you pull it inside out of itself. I can't remember the technical term. I might put it on the screen. So there's that. I started a shirt, collared shirt, and I will tell you the pattern. It's just down on the ground. So this is the start of a collared shirt, and I've got this lovely, beautiful, cute material, and half and half little pocket over there. It's got this beautiful pleat in the back, and I'm up to the hemming of the bottom of that, but as you can see, it's quite curved, and for someone that's never hemmed before, it's quite a bit of a challenge. So the pattern for the waistcoat is a birder pattern, and I get all my patterns and things secondhand from the Sewing Basket, which is a charity run material crafty everything kind of a shop, with people, run by people with Down syndrome. It's really good charity to support. So this is the Birder 3403 waistcoat, this one here. And the shirt that I'm doing is a McCall's, and that's M7387. Now, you could either do all of these options. I've gone for option A up here. Excuse me, I've got mohair up my nose. So there's that. And then I love the booby bird. I think he's so cute. And I found a new patchwork shop, which is literally a 5-minute walk from my house, which is quite dangerous, but oh, this mohair is really up my nose. But I went in there when I was up at the doctor collecting something a few months back, and was like a kid in a candy store, and I found this really cool material with boobies on it, and I love them, and so I bought some. And I made a project bag with it. Now it's a little, needs an iron because I already spilt food on it and it's been through the wash. I've lined it with this beautiful green, and I've got a baby blue zipper. I've got this strap on the end of it, which admittedly I did a little bit too long, so I can carry it around. And yeah, I mean, my idea is to make a lot and one day have my own market store or Etsy shop or something like that. I will do it, but this year is not the year. It's been a hell of a year. There's been a lot going on with family, with myself, and this year is not the year to do it. But that's not to say I never will. My next section, I will talk about my acquisitions. Now, I have somehow acquired quite a lot, so strap in for the ride. I don't know whether I've got everything that I have acquired in the last few months with me. My goal this year was to work through stash and not buy anything. And although I thought I was doing well with that, turns out no, I'm not. Some of it's been gifted, and some of it's come from Facebook Marketplace, or I've won in a competition, you know, so I haven't really fallen off the don't buy anything wagon much. And I certainly haven't spent a lot of money. But at Fibre Frolic Fest, you go, you think you're not going to get anything, and you find this lovely, beautiful, autumny colours and there's a lot of it, and it wasn't very expensive. So it's called Pleasant View Fibres, and they're in Singleton in Australia. Now this is hand dyed and approximately 100 grams. It doesn't say what kind of wool, it just says wool. So there's 100 grams in each ball, and my plan with this, I imagine, is to be a shawl. I bought it with a shawl in mind, so we shall see. It is in stash at the moment. I have been gifted from my mum 3 skeins of American Taji wool, Arbor, Brooklyn tweed. It's American wool. I'm just trying to find the color. I think it's called Burnished. I don't know where his label's gone. But I'm like feeling the autumn vibes in these. I'm really like, green is my go-to. Usually I buy green, everything is green, but I'm feeling a bit more connected to earthy tones as well at the moment, which is great because it's diversifying my stash. And this here from the Woolian in Penrith. Whoop! Excuse me. Oh, now it's just gone everywhere. Never mind. Again, with a shawl in mind or socks, I'm undecided. I have Primavera 859 sock in fingering weight, which has just got lovely greens, browns, really all the colors that I love, and some Fiore sock. Actually, I remember now. I won a gift voucher at the Knitters Guild meeting through our raffle, and I used that voucher to buy this. This one, sock yarn. Bought with a knitting on the plane in mind. However, I've since chosen something else. I forgot in this moment that I was supposed to be using stash, but we all do it, so let's just not beat ourselves up about that. I have a lot of four-ply fingering weight, I have realized, but I do have planned for a lot of socks. So, and shawl, a couple of shawls. So we shall see. Now I bought this in mind because I want to try some botanical dyeing. I picked some mushrooms and freeze dried them and air dried them so that I can learn how to dye. And I want to dye this, and that's with the saffron milk caps. So again, a project for later. This year it's not going to happen. Obsession yarns, really, really lovely wool, and it is a lovely color. However, it didn't match the image on the website / Instagram page. And yes, I love it, and yes, I will use it because it's still green, but it's not the color that I thought that it was going to be. And this is it here. And and I understand completely, because even putting that up here to this light, it doesn't show true to form what the color is. It's not going to do it. So I know for a fact that, and the name of the lady who runs Obsession Yarns is escaping me, but I do know, because she has said it, that she had real trouble getting accurate color image for this. And so when I bought it, I took a risk. Now it's lovely, I do love it, but it's certainly not what I thought it was going to look like. My plan for this is to do some crochet. The shell scarf that I did for my friend overseas that I'm taking with me on this trip. I plan to do one of those for myself. If you don't know what I'm talking about, have a look back through my videos, and it's like one of the early, either the first or the second video that I ever made. It should be on there. I did a sort of shell wave crochet scarf. You will also be able to find it on my Instagram page. My mother won in the raffle at Knitters Guild, and because it was green, in fact, no, it was not Knitters Guild. It was Knitting in Public Day, which we went to at the Wool Inn in Penrith. And this is called Mermaid Waters. My mum won the competition and like trivia competition. And because it was green, she gifted it to me. And it's a Fiore DK hand dyed. And it is literally so soft. And I don't know, maybe a hat? Facebook Marketplace, I got some sock yarn. I had my mother in mind for this. Wait, am I lying to you? I think I'm lying to you. Let me have a look. No, okay, I am lying to you. This one came from Facebook Marketplace, and this is what I'm taking on the plane with me to knit some socks with. This one was a gift from my mother. I had my mother in mind because she knit some socks with this for herself, and it looked really good. And so, although it's not the exact same as hers, she gifted me, well, I kind of twisted her arm and said, can you please buy me that? When we were at Fibre Frolic, and that came from Fibre Frolic. The shop, I can't get it back in now. And I think it's going to knit up really nicely. It's like this light, fun, speckled, hand-dyed yarn. This one here, I will talk about my... And see, I can hear myself starting to like, whoop, the burnout, kick back in again. So I'm going to wrap it up in a second. Because you can tell, I've dropped. My energy level has dropped. My oomph is gone. And I've started to not be able to think straight and tell you what it is I'm talking about. And I've been feeling like this a lot in the last few days. I've had some sad news. I do spinning. I haven't really taken off with my spinning yet. I tried to have a wheel. It wasn't right. I'm on the hunt for a wheel. The drop spindle I have is not right. So I've got all this fibre, and I go up to spinning with the girls every so often. Anyway, that's another thing that I'm interested in that I haven't quite got off the ground yet, but I will, because I'm really interested in the whole process from fiber, from the alpaca or the sheep or whatever animal, and having that like real hand spun journey, for lack of a better word. Sorry, my brain has hit burnout and is having trouble right now. But I've had some sad news. One of the ladies from spinning sadly has passed away. And I was going to have tea with her. Anyway, I can't talk about it because it was only a few days ago, so bear with me. There's that. It's been a big few days and I'm feeling that burnout. So I'm going to finish this podcast up. So I will finish off by saying that this yarn, ready for my trip, I leave on the 21st. I'm going to start the Petty Harbour by Raina Curtis socks. And it's a really pretty pattern. I don't want to obviously share it. I'm not sure if it's a paid pattern or not. I can't remember. But I will let you know down below with a link to the sock pattern. And so that's for my flight overseas. So a quick little update on that. I'm going with my mum. We are going to go through Seoul to London, up to Scotland for a week, down to Newcastle upon Tyne area for a week, down through the Yorkshire Dales for a week, and then down to my uncle's farm for a couple of days, and then back to London for a couple of days, and back to Seoul for a couple of days, and then home and back to work. I did plan on telling you a bit more about that because I am probably not going to have time to come on here before I go, but you never know. We've been going for 36 minutes now, and you're probably starting to drift your attention span just as much as me. But it's something I'm really looking forward to. I haven't had a holiday since 2018, like a proper 4-week overseas kind of a holiday. I'm going to see my family. My cousin is due for a baby a month after I'm there. Unfortunately, I was hoping the baby would come while I was there. So I'm meeting a friend of mine who we've been chatting online for 4 years, but we've never met in person. So that's really exciting and, anxious at the same time. But still, I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to see some of my family. I'm going to see some of my friends. I'm only going for 4 weeks. It's impossible to see everyone because we're actually going for a proper holiday and not just running around, going to people's lounge rooms. We're having the first week, it's just mum and I, and I was going to Shetland, but it's not in the budget this time. Maybe another time, but this time it's not happening. So going to Glasgow and having a day trip to Loch Lomond, going over to Edinburgh and then doing an Outlander tour and back to Edinburgh, then across to Newcastle upon Tyne, Sunderland and Corbridge area. And then from there down to the Yorkshire Dales in the middle of nowhere in a cottage where I can sit and knit and walk and just chill and re-energize. And the family are coming to us, and then down to sort of Devon-ish area, Exeter area for a few days. And then back to London to hopefully catch up with some friends. I'm gonna probably have a pub lunch or something just so that I can be right. I'm gonna be here. If you're free, come hang out, because I'm very blessed that I know a lot of people in the UK, and it's not possible to catch up with every single person, unfortunately. I would love to, but 4 weeks, it's just not enough time. You can't do everything. So that's all exciting and coming up very soon. I will try and do another podcast before then, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough time. I will definitely get some woolly knitting, sheepy, animal cottage footage for you while I'm over there. And I hope you really enjoyed this episode. Sorry for, sort of going off the chart with my brain and my burnout there for a minute there, but I sort of come through and came good at the end. And yeah, so lots of things that have happened. It's really, really good to see you. I hope you've enjoyed hanging out. Please give me a like, follow if you haven't followed me, make some comments. I would really love other people in the knitting community to get to know my podcast, to get to know me, and for people to get as much out of this as I get out of other people's. And I have done a couple of vlogs here and there. I find them quite challenging to sort of keep up on top of, but I think it's nice to have it every now and then to sort of see what it's like for my life here. A lot of the people I follow are overseas, and I enjoy hearing their different accents, and I enjoy seeing the areas in where they live, and I enjoy, of course, hearing about their knitting endeavours and crafty endeavours. And I presume that having an Australian accent for some people may have the same effect as what other accents have for me. So thank you, it's been a pleasure. Go and check out my Instagram. I'm updating that daily. And I will see you either before I leave, but probably after, or along the journey. Probably along the journey. So thanks very much, and peace out. Nice to see you all. See you again soon. I can't see it.
Yeah, no. It's all starting with the front row.
So I didn't think I would have enough material, and then I thought I did, and now I know I don't. So I'm going to juggle, and if I can't get them all from this piece, I'm going to have one panel of this on one half of the shirt to give it a bit of point of difference anyway. So yeah, let's unpick this and we shall see. Watch this space.
Made the pants and we've fitted the fabric and done the adjustments as we've gone. And then we look at that basic pants pattern. How can we make that pattern make it a pair of shorts? How can we make it pair of pants? How can we add pleats to the front? And how can we convert it to waist? So all those things. So that's where you start extending out a little bit too.
So if I make this again, I probably wouldn't want to just like a boy.
Yep.
Make it a little longer.
And see what a lot of people are doing with things
It
like
was.
that too is they're getting the old contour
Just a
and the
bit
blankets.
fiddly.
Yeah.
And then using
Maybe I need
blankets
more
to
pins.
Yeah.
like a camping shirt.
Yeah.
And then you would line it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's a bit scratchy to the
Yeah.
skin as well. And just for that extra warmth.
It's just because it's got a bit of weight on it.
The bunch up on every stitch.
Those, like, you know, like gathered it almost,
Yeah,
isn't it?
really gathered it.
Yeah.
This is the worst bits of it. Too much of it.
My seller's daughter. What am I wearing? I'm wearing this jumper which you made, which is a petite knit, ravine tweed
From the woolly.
from the woolly.
Yeah, looks fantastic.
Plus
Warm
my
clothing.
yes, I did. Very warm. A bit warm now.
Yeah.
I don't know what's pattern is it. Wednesday
It's
sweater,
Wednesday
Sunday
sweater or
sweater,
Sunday
day of the week sweater.